Welcome to Zen Fits, or another metaphor for your toolbox. Now, I hope you're following me, and I guess at some point I'll probably put all these together in a little something called metaphors for your toolbox, because each talk seems to be creating a metaphor or a tool that we can use to understand our own mind and how it works. And if we can't understand our mind, we're going to be constantly crashing, constantly calling for tech support, constantly frustrated because it's not working the way it's supposed to. The world's not working the way it should. And remember, the mind and the world are one. You see, the mind and the world are like a hologram in which each of us lives. So if we can't understand and see, this is the problem, is that we think we can understand the world as a bunch of things through the laws of cause and effect and logic, but we don't understand that the mind is part of the world. So we neglect the cause of the world we live in, which is the mind. And we live under a misplaced cause. We think the external world is causing my pain. And that neglects to see that as mind, I am the world I experience, you see? But we can't look at that because we only see it. So we're going to look at this problem. And the metaphor for today is don't feed the koi. A koi are a Japanese goldfish, a carp. They get very big, they live a long time. I have a little Buddha pond in the backyard. Been there about 13 or 14 years, and the original koi that I put there, about like that, are now like that. And I've only lost one, so they're really very hardy. And I feed them every day. And the water in the summertime gets a little cloudy because of algae. So you really can't see them down there. And but when I walk up to the pond, they hear me coming and they come to the surface, and I throw some food in there, and the water goes all over the place. And then when they finish eating, it drops back down and the calm becomes clear, and it reflects the trees and the sky. And it's always a pleasure to sit by a calm pond and watch the reflections of the trees and the sky in this mirror surface. It's so peaceful. But when the koi come up, it's all disturbed, you see. So we're going to look at Tolle's quote today. It's very simple, but it really goes to part of the crux or the core of Tolle's teaching, which is we all have a pain body. And I'm just creating the metaphor that the koi is the pain body. So we can kind of like get an understanding of how it works. So here's the quote. The beginning of freedom from the pain body lies first of all in the realization that you have a pain body. The beginning of freedom from the pain body lies first in the realization that you have a pain body. This is also Buddha's first noble truth. Life is suffering. Well, did you notice I got a haircut? So, the first noble truth is basically there is the pain body. There is suffering. Recognize it. Okay. So, the pain body, as koi, comes to the surface when it's hungry. And it's hungry every day. So we all can see the pain body in other people. People love to come and share their most recent pain. The complaint with the doctor, the accident, the disservice, the injustice, the ignorance of people, the misfortune, myself as a victim. That's the main thing. Whenever you feel the victim of the world, you got pain and you want to share it. And we share the pain body through reenactment of the pain body, just like Civil War reenactments. That's a collective pain body. So pain body gets reenacted, and so a person will come into your house and your calm is peaceful, and suddenly it's all full of ripples as they reenact this pain they just had, and you feel it in yourself. And you say, oh, I understand, and you're trying to calm them down. But they keep wanting to give you the pain. I don't want the pain. Everything was calm. You see? But then when two people generate pain together, you have two pain bodies that are in sync, and they both rise together to feed. And that escalates into violence. Somebody shoots somebody, or you defriend them. Kind of Facebook execution. So the pain bodies rise, and pain bodies love to find another pain body they can relate to. And because it begins to go like you stick a mic into an amplifier, go wow, 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 wow. So when pain bodies get together, it goes wow, 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 until something intervenes. If nothing intervenes, it goes into a violent explosion. So, but the metaphor is interesting because it gives us an idea, or we all know what a pond looks like, we all know what feeding fish look like. But the recognition is that I have a koi, or a pain body in me, is the first step in realization. Because what we normally do is the process of feeding the pain body goes like this. You say, I hurt. Okay, something hurt me. You hurt me. This situation hurt me. And it shouldn't have happened. And the next step is, who did it? Who hurt me? This guy hurt me. The situation hurt me. I'm such an idiot, I hurt myself. But the point is, when I hurt, you got to blame it on somebody, some it. You or it or something or the world, the Trump or the politics or whatever, is the cause of my hurt. So that is the logical steps in feeding the pain body. So when the pain body comes up, basically what we fundamentally want is to return the pond to its calm, reflective surface. So the pond, as my mind, sees the trees and the sky and the world with clarity. One little ripple in the mind, if you notice a pond, one little ripple in the mind creates a fragment of reality. The world is rippled, see? And a ripple is like two mirrors. A wave is like two mirrors. So each side reflects an opposite reality. So the ripples, like a snow globe, if you stop shaking the pond, stirring it, the pond or mind comes back to one reality, clarity, you see. One little pebble, one little thought in the clear mirror mind will create a wave that shows two realities, two views that are incompatible, you see. I'm just working this out with me. So the ripple creates two incompatible realities or reflections of the world that are mutually dependent. You see the mutually dependent but incompatible? You see, this is a world, but they are mutually dependent because it's one unity with two faces. One head with two faces is a symbol of Janus, the two-faced God. the split reality. And the drive of reality, the drive of life, the intention of life, the intention of the cosmos is to be one. So the intention is to be one, or to restore the reality to peace. But it can't, because the two views of what each view you see says, I am the one. No, I am the one, you see? So now we got two ones, like two tomcats, competing to restore unity to the one that can't be divided. So, am I digressing from the pain body? Well, anyway, this is kind of like the framework in which the pain body arises. So let's get to another structural analogy here that I find really works. And because I used to be an English teacher way back in the 60s, unsuccessful one. And my wife was a successful one, I was unsuccessful. So the thing that, if you remember your grammar, you learn the three persons, the first person, second person, and third person. Well, we're going to concentrate on the first and third. The first person is I. I speak from the first person. I did it. I was going along the road and this and that happened. I speak. Or third person is he, she, or it. There's viewpoints here, you see. The third person is the view from outside of reality, and everything is in it. So I'm kind of like in the third person. I'm kind of like outside the first person. The first, all right, here's good. All right, let's see. Pop, 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 pop. Okay. The first person speaks from inside unity. Inside the first person speaks as the I of unity. I. The third person speaks as if you were outside of everything. Everything is in it. He, she, or it. And you can talk about all these it's. He did it, she did it did it. And you talk about it from a viewpoint that is outside of everything as in it. You get that? This is the third person is what makes science work. Science is a science of its. It causes it. What's the law that these its run by? If I can figure out the law, I can predict the its. You see? And the scientist is not part of the its. So when we look at the world through the third person view, everything's in it, including me. So as soon as so this is the fallacy of the sleeping first person. When I hurt and who did it, what I'm basically saying and understanding and assuming is that I'm an it and another it hurt me. Now I got to find out, and its work on the cause and effect. So the effect, you see, is that some it, I'm an it and some it hurt me. What's the it that did it? If I can find the it that hurt me as an it, I can get rid of that it and I won't hurt. It's very logical. It works in science. It works in mechanics. If the car is an it and it hurts, it's out of alignment. What it did it? Well, the wheel's out of alignment. Fix the wheel, and you're back in alignment. And the car, it doesn't hurt, you see. So this first person is asleep in our materialistic worldview of its. Other cultures it's not asleep, but in our culture it is, but it's waking up. For instance, the whole teaching of non-dualism, Eckhart Tolle, Buddhism, yoga, self-realization, meditation. All of these intentions are basically to wake up the first person, the sleeping first person, who, when awake, says, but this is the catch here. The awakened first person doesn't say, I am awake. There is just awakening. And I am that. But the that is not an it. You see. The awakened first person, there is a shift from it awareness, I hurt, to awareness itself. Now this is where the pain body comes in. Okay. Don't feed the koi. Now what feeds the koi? What feeds my pain body when it comes up? Well, the first thing that feeds it is the way in which we view or understand the pain body, which is the illusion of it, or the unwise view. This is in Buddhism, in the fourth noble truth, or the Eightfold Path. And the first step in the Eightfold Path is wise view. And wise view goes directly to the grammar of the third person and the first person. Unwise view is seeing yourself as a third person. Unwise view is mistaking yourself for an it among other its, a thing among things, a many of the many. The fragmented pond, you see. The fragmented pond is an it world. Because every it has not it. See? When you're over here, this is an it. When you're over here, this is an it. So you got two its. Each one thinking the other it is the cause of its pain, which is the loss of unity. So the pain of the pain body is the loss of unity and blaming it on somebody else or some other it. But the fault is in that we see ourselves as an it who is hurt and caused by another it, you see? So this being locked into the third person view is the unwise view. And our whole intention to wake up and to be free from pain, and the pain we're talking about is the psychological pain that comes from Groundhog Day, which is the reenactment of our patterns of pain, which is the reenactment of the pain bodies that come to feed. And what do we feed the pain body? But our first person. The sleeping first person is a sacrifice to the pain body. I have to keep... So this feeding the pain body with my first person awareness creates the illusion that I'm a thing that hurts. But wait, you see, the first person is not a thing. The first person is not an it. The first person is I as the center. Its are all on the periphery. Its are all out here, you see. And I is out here viewing all the its from space. It's just a point of view. It doesn't exist. It's just a perspective. It's just a point of view. In the same way that, when art, if you look at history of art, I forgot exactly when it was, maybe the Renaissance, when the third dimension came in. Before that, everything was flat. There was no dimension in paintings. And then suddenly, a third dimension was discovered. And now you see depth in a painting. I'm looking at a painting on the wall now, and you look in depth. There's this third dimension. Before there was just two. Now there's a third, you see. Go to your movie. It's a flat, two-dimensional world. Put on 3D glasses. Whoa, you got depth. It's the same movie, but now there is another dimension. So this viewpoint that looks at the world as I, this I out here, this me, is just a viewpoint like the third dimension on a painting is. It doesn't exist. The third dimension does not exist on a painting. The thing is still flat. You see, the painting is still flat. It never changed. But suddenly, you construct it in such a way, or you put on the 3D glasses, suddenly there's another dimension. So when we live in an it world, it's like living in a flat world, but we create a third dimension of depth by putting on 3D glasses, and those 3D glasses is the ego. It's the view from outside of reality so that everything's an it. But then I have to exist, you see, so I'm an it too. Because from this view, I see everything as an it, including myself, you see? And that's the fault. That creates suffering, says the Buddha. This dukkha, this separation from being, this separation from the ground of life by putting myself out there in a viewpoint that has no existence. It's just a viewpoint, which started in the evolution of human consciousness as a survival viewpoint. When you can see reality as an it, you can make tools. See, animals don't see themselves like that. Animals are it. Animals are all first person. Animals are first person beings. They all see things from me, from their point, from their me. They don't see themselves from outside and see. They can't reflect on themselves, you see. So this is a self-reflection that is important for human survival, that makes us unique. But it has an unintended consequence when it becomes the only view, because it neglects the first person view, which does not fit into this paradigm. So this whole spiritual journey that we're on is primarily to awaken the first person. And in Buddha, that's called Buddha nature. If you want to put it in a Christian context, you say it's Christ nature. And putting it in a Christian context,